okay under the circumstances. I am frustrated because I wrote a Reddit post, and Reddit is just such a wonky, horrible thing, and my post got lost. And I hate when that happens. I hate when I am writing something that's on my mind or whatever, and technology glitches and I lose all the work I'm doing. So instead of rewriting what I had posted, not like anybody is going to read it over there, right? I'm also banned from so many things because they're so overly moderated and they're like little mini dictator fiefdoms. Anyway, um, so yeah, hi. I am actually also dealing with massive back pain this morning. I fell last week and had a injured wrist and really badly scraped my knee. But I was walking. I was like, okay, everything's fine. My wrist is a little sore. I'm a little shaken, whatever. But yesterday, I suddenly just like my whole body just flared up and my whole lower, it's like excruciating pain. Like I wish I had some really power. I gotta look for some muscle relaxers. My lower back is just completely just spasming. It's just like everything just kind of flared up like a week later. Anyway, um, so yeah. So my Reddit post, something I've been thinking about for a while, because I've been dealing with a lot of dark stuff. Um, for the record, I am, I'm not an atheist. My parental units were atheists. I was raised Christian. I was raised Episcopalian, actually. I have been baptized and confirmed in the Episcopalian church when I was a kid. I had Catholic godparents. So went to a Catholic high school, whole nine yards, right? But I deviated and explored other paths. I have been a Wiccan. I have been a witch. I've been pagan. I've explored Buddhism, shamanism, Hinduism, um, kitchen witch, the whole nine yards. Like whatever, whatever you can imagine. I've explored them all. I define myself loosely as kind of a welcome. Um, a I've as a pagan, just generally, I don't have a real set path. I kind of very eclectic, and but I also identify myself as very agnostic, not atheist, but agnostic. Welcome everyone. Hi. I'm just going to talk. So I can't see my phone. I can't see people as they comment. So don't think I'm ignoring you. Thank you very much for joining. I just can't see I can't, for some reason, I can't scroll because I'm doing this on my phone. But anyway, thank you very much for joining. So anyway, that's my path. Like my spirituality. And over the last, what, 3 weeks now we're dealing with, I have become more certain that there is a really, really dark evil. Now, I know that sounds crazy. I don't like to, um, I don't like to seem off the rails with regards to, oh, there's evil in the world, but I'm seeing something very, very dark. I always say that I don't know what the operating instructions of working in this world is like, right? Like I don't know how things operate. I've laid in bed for so many days over the years, talking to God and praying and um have really not gotten much back. Now that's not to say that I have not seen quote unquote blessings in my life. There have been some very, very kind people and very nice people, and I have seen goodness in the world. I do see that, okay? But I also recognize I see them. I don't see it as though I won $1 million in the lottery without buying a lottery ticket. Okay. I see and recognize that people do the action in the world, you know, and that you can say, well, God works through them and whatever. But I give the credit to the people actually doing the hard work, you know, gathering the food, helping feed people, helping other people in whatever capacity. Okay. You can attribute that to God, whatever. I'm like, okay, whatever, you know. Um, but I see the actual people doing it and I give them thanks because they're the ones who are actually physically doing the work, not some old man in the sky, you know, whatever. So that's kind of like how I see the world. Um, I believe in probably a more metaphysical idea of how reality works. I think that there's a lot I think there's stuff that's out there that we don't fully understand in our universe. Like I think there's mysteries and some of it's quantum and how reality is and how we just can't see it. We don't really fully understand. We're starting to, and I've lost everybody, of course, because I'm boring everyone. Whatever, I don't care. And yeah, I'm not going to do a song and dance, but anyway. It's like, um so it's yeah, that's kind of like how I see the world. Like I don't know, I can't say definitively this is how things work, but I see that there's something out there, haven't figured out how that works, and I see a lot of really messed up people in this world that are using things against us. Um, and I'm losing my train of thought. So I think that why this brought up this conversation. So this is kind of like where my faith and my spirituality is. Like I'm just an agnostic pagan, you know. I do maybe some candle magic, some rune stuff. I do or you know, some sigil magic, that kind of stuff. And I work with that a little kind of hands-on magic. But in terms of like a big faith, I don't know. I don't know where I'm at with that. And the reason why I've lost a lot of my quote unquote faith um, is because I look at what is going on especially I'm not going to talk about the world in general, but the United States right now is in a very seriously dark, evil place. And I really honestly see that there is an evil, and I really kind of believe that there's almost like a demonic force that is floating through this country right now. Okay. And the thing that just really just said, yep, this is exactly what's going on is when Bishop Buddy was on the pulpit and she was speaking to Trump and she said what she said, right? Like she was saying, love your neighbor. I mean, she was basically preaching Jesus's words, right? And I talk about it being Christ consciousness, and that's another larger theist, you know, religion or a spiritual discussion for another day about, you know, what Christ consciousness is versus everything else. But anyway, but you know, she's preaching Jesus, you know, saying love your neighbor as yourself, you know, that kind of stuff. All the stuff that I remember when I was raised as a Christian, you know, be kind, love your neighbor, all the kindness and the goodness and, you know, the stuff, right? Like common sense, just stuff, right? That we always say, oh, well, you know, Jesus and the kindness and love and, you know, all this. And the retaliation against her by Trump supporters and by Trump and his whole entire crew, is so evil. I routinely see people, and I don't care if they're bots. I don't care if they're real people. I don't know who they are. I'm just seeing this online. I'm seeing people talk about this stuff. They're on X and Reddit, wherever they are. And they're literally saying that she was not a real Christian, that she was somehow promoting the hate, and that she shouldn't have done that, and that that's not what a priest does, which is an odd way to. And I'm like, yeah, this right here, the fact that people cannot recognize the teachings of Jesus Christ, of love your neighbor as yourself, etc. They can't recognize those words, and they think that that is hate speech. There's something really seriously wrong with this country. Darkness. And Trump just signed some stupid faith department of faith. Let's forget about, separation of church and state here again. And the amount of hatred and darkness in these people that is just flowing out, I can almost visually see it. The amount of just, it's like every negative emotion, every negative thought, every negative dark feeling, thought, whatever, is just manifesting in these people, And it's like, it's terrifying to me. And I think out of all of the stuff that's going on, that is the most terrifying, because I just am like, people have been saying that Donald Trump is the Antichrist. And there's a reason why. And I don't believe, and people say, is he the Antichrist, or is he a Antichrist? He's definitely a Antichrist. I saw something else just recently about, because I get into gematria, which is basically sacred number kind of stuff. And someone had posted a video of Elon Musk, right? And I know it was just a costume and everything, but he was wearing some stupid red, gamer costume, I guess from one of his little gamey fantasy guys or whatever. I don't know what it was, but it pops up, right? And they focused in, and I found this photograph, and, on the breastplate of his costume, on this red fake armor thingy, there was an inverted cross. And I was like, and when the person had put together this one video, I was like, is that true? And I went and looked, and I'm like, indeed, there is an inverted cross on Elon Musk's breastplate of that stupid costume he was wearing. And I know that, there are a lot of pagans who embrace Satanism, and they think it's trendy and cool. And I hate the word Satanism. I can go into a larger thing about Satanism and all that, because that's a larger, that's a larger bucket to unload, honestly. That's just, but my point is that, I know that it's so funny for all these people who claim to be Christians and to say that they're on the side of Christ, and they just ignore it's so funny, because I do believe in symbolism. Okay. I do believe that when someone is showing you something, it's like hiding in plain sight kind of stuff. And I know a lot of people on the left will, my liberal peers will go, oh, you're just crazy. That's, my skeptical, atheistic, friends and stuff. Oh, you're just nuts and whatever. But I believe that I do believe that, there's a reason. When they show you a symbol, don't disregard the symbol, It's like, there's a reason why they have symbols, we just had in where I'm at, a Nazi group and I'm going to call them Nazis. I know that it's funny because someone had commented that the reason why the press can't call these people Nazis is because Nazi is a formal title and they don't want to be sued or something for something like that. And it could be a different group. Like, whatever. But all across this country, there are these Nazis that rent U-Haul trailers, and they go to overpasses in big cities like Houston and Illinois and everything else like that, and in Cincinnati, and they're, posting their, white people are superior signs and their swastika flags, and they're black flag. They're a black flag with a red swastika on it. Okay. The swastika, if you don't know, the swastika used to be a positive symbol. It was a symbol denoted for luck. It was in various cultures, not just the Hindu culture, but the Nazis flipped it on its side and reversed it. Okay. So they inverted it essentially, to use these symbols and this esoteric information for their own purposes. But anyway, going back to, so anyway, this group was there and they got their asses handed to them by a local neighborhood bunch of people, and it's just like, good for them. Like, they got ran off the rails, but of course the police were protecting them, of course, because free speech, right? Anyway, so, but there's a reason why there's symbols, I mean, you use symbols all the time to reflect information and to spread information. It's like, and it works. I mean, advertising uses this stuff all the time. It's effective because it gets into your brain, right? Anyway, so I don't know why. All right, I got a hair in my mouth. This image of, sorry, this image of Elon Musk wearing this red suit of armor with an inverted cross on it, an inverted black cross. And someone then was pointing out that, he, ironically, all of his companies are X, like, it's like, I don't even remember, but X is X. And they were saying that they have this, and that X in one form of gematria, it comes down to the number 6. But, it's interesting because I think that there is definitely a very, and I also want to say too, is that the occult merely means hidden knowledge. Okay, just for the record, occult means hidden knowledge, but and it can be wielded by people who are light bringers, or they can be people who are wanting to hide it. Okay, and again, I can go into that more extensively, but so the occult itself does not mean evil. Occult merely means hidden knowledge. Dark occult means that people who are trying to use knowledge and hide it from people, or to use it against people who do not have the benefit of understanding this knowledge, or are not fully consciously aware of it, can be manipulated and harmed by it. Okay. And this is all just psychology. I mean, this is all like understanding like the dark psychology, manipulation, just everything, right? That stuff is real. It exists. Like, this is why advertisers spend billions of dollars a year in advertising things to you, because they, and that's essentially all it is. I mean, it's not anything really more than that, but it is dangerous. Okay. And it can be used for good or evil, but they're trying to sell you cigarettes. They're going to use all these tactics against you to manipulate you and to go into your base, your very baser instincts to manipulate your behaviors and your thoughts and your feelings and everything. And so this isn't just selling you just cigarettes or alcohol or whatever product, refrigerator, car, whatever. They're selling you ideas. And so Trump is just one of these practitioners. But I'm sorry, I'm like, it's morning. I apologize. But the whole Elon Musk thing is really dark too. And so I see him as an antichrist as well. It's just like he's definitely hiding the fact that he is a white supremacist, South African white supremacist Nazi. And they're trying to say, no, he's not a Nazi. That wasn't a Heil Hitler salute. Yeah, it was, folks. But these people, just their whole entire nature is just so dark and evil. And if you don't see that, I don't know what to tell you. You must be taken in by all this. But I really feel like there's just this evil, and I know that sounds crazy and just, whatever, but I think we have to call it for what it is. I don't think this is just, politics as usual. Oh, it's just, whatever. I really see that something has gripped half this country very, very hard. And I'm really concerned about it. And I don't know. And I see it not just in politics, but I see it like it really always bothers me. Like Winnie the Pooh just recently got into the public domain over the last several years. And one of the first things that they did with Winnie the Pooh is turn it into a horror movie. And why would you do that? I mean, people think it's funny. And there is so much dark movies out there, like really dark. I mean, not just horror movies. I'm talking like people who really are twisted and dark and promote darkness. And really, you go away feeling like, what is going on? There's just something like off. And you're like, how? What? Like, And I see that in so much stuff anymore. And I've pretty much turned the popular media off. I don't really watch mainstream news, but yeah, it's prevalent all over the internet anymore. I mean, social media. And I know people say, well, we can get off social media. I just philosophically believe that I need to be present and I need to make a stand wherever I am, because that's where people are. And there may be somebody who may hear my words and listen, and I want to be a light in that darkness, right? So yeah, if you want to like and subscribe to me, that would be great. But I think that there's, and I've talked about him before. There's a teacher that I have followed for many years. His name's Mark Passio, and he really has given me a lot of foundational material to understand what is really going on in this world, and just understanding how we are being manipulated, how important it is to do our shadow work, to understand all this stuff that's been hidden from us. He calls himself a de-occultist, meaning that he wants to de-occult, de-hide all of this knowledge that has been hidden and used against us, because knowledge is power. And if you see it and you call it out, you can't be affected by it. I mean, well, you still probably could be affected by it if you don't have foundational, if you don't have a solid foundation in yourself, you can be affected by these things. So you have to keep learning and understanding and improving yourself in order to be a bulwark against this darkness. And the fact that this Trump regime and this cult movement has really, like, the mask is off. And I don't know if anybody has seen the movie, and I highly recommend, please, 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 please go out and see this movie. It's called They Live. It's an old 80s movie. It's got a wrestler, Roddy Piper. He's the main character. But watch that movie. I mean, it's a little hokey in terms of like 80s stuff, but it's saying a lot of stuff, right? And there's other movies like that too, that basically show you that there's something really dark, and that there's people. I mean, they're talking like they'll show a dollar bill and he puts these glasses on and it says, "This is your God," right? On the dollar bill. And I think that there are people, beings, I wouldn't call them human, or they're walking around in meat suits that have been infiltrated by a very dark, and I will say it's an entity. I know that sounds crazy. I know it's just, I can't explain it because it is so vile that it's like, what is going on? And I want to say that I'm a very, very rational person. I really am. But it's just, there's something very, very dark. And I think that it goes beyond just, oh, people are just misguided in their politics. I think there's something that's really, really turning these people, and, energetically and everything. And I think that we need to acknowledge and call it out for what it is. It's funny that and it's people who it's like it's taken over the entire evangelical movement, right? Like, you look at someone like Kenneth Copeland, who is a prosperity gospel teacher. He's just one of them. And there's this one image of him in this video where I mean, it's like, whoa. I mean, if there is ever a like visualization of someone being demonically possessed, it would be him. I swear to God. Like, he really comes off as being demonically possessed. And I'm not talking just about Satan, because Satan really is not a being. It's kind of like a made up being. There's not like a Satan and a hell and everything. I think that there's definitely dark forces, archonic forces that are floating around in our world, and they look for openings to come inside us, which I know sounds crazy. I know people who are skeptical and rational and everything are going to go, "You sound like a nut job." But I really am seeing this, and it's just like, you can either choose, I'll have to look it up. There's two wolves, and which one will win is I can't remember, the two wolves inside you. Yeah. Not that I want to put anything bad against wolves. There are two wolves inside you. Let's see. Where's the story? Hold on. I'll read it to you. The battle between two wolves. Hold on. Where they actually don't show. They go, there are two wolves. They're always fighting. One is darkness and despair. The other one is light and hope. Which wolf wins? And it says, whichever the one you feed. Right? And it's like, there's a lot of the darkness that is being fed right now. And it isn't about, there's a lot of movements on all sides that I think are affected by this, and they have to kind of really watch it, because it's alluring. It gives you that false sense of power over somebody, right? And you have to really, really watch it. And Christianity, quote unquote, Christianity is very vulnerable to that. And I'm not saying that all Christians are bad. I think there's a lot of really good Christians out there. I don't see all Christianity or all religions as bad, but generally speaking, I reject religion because I don't think that's the way to find your faith, right? Like, I don't think that that's where you find, truth or true spirituality. You don't, if you find comfort in going to a church and following a faith, and you feel like it helps you be a better person, or Muslim, or whatever religion you want to be, more power to you. I don't care. It's when people who do not have a good firm grounding in logic and reason believe too much in these religious ideologies and these religious cults. And anything can be a cult, right? Anything can be mind control. Money is mind control. Money is a religion. The worship of money and commerce, and well, not commerce, but the worship of money is definitely a religion, right? Like people that just believe in this. And the Trump stuff has become a religion. People worship these people, and it's like, wow, and then they call themselves Christian, and you're just like, how are you a Christian? I mean, that's not Christ that I was taught, you know. Um, Sorry, I'm in a lot of pain this morning. So, just the fact that Bishop Buddy's words were so vehemently attacked was just kind of like the last straw. And I'm like, there's something really, really dark in this world. I mean, really dark. I mean, there's some entity or force that has taken over and has created this division, but it's completely because they're so vulnerable to it. I mean, the fact that people claim to love Christ and yet do the exact opposite of what Christ taught is definitive proof that there is something darkly and deeply, deeply, deeply wrong with this group of people. And we need to figure out a way to fight it, not just, in the courts or, in politics. Everyone's like whining, like, oh, my Congress critter, he's not responding, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I have limited time. I've written letters. I've done those things. That's all well and good, but I think we're past that point. I think there's something else that needs to happen. And I don't have the answers, but I needed to talk about this because I think there really, really is something like energetically, entity, demonic. And I say demonic because I defined demons as like dark energy forces, right? And I think that they have. I mean, it's funny because leading up into this election, we were hearing a lot about aliens and UAPs and UFOs, and that's basically fallen off the map, right? Like we're not hearing that. It's not front and center. It's almost like it was a distraction. And I believe in aliens. Like I believe that whole conversation is like something else to unpack as well. But I believe in aliens. I believe there's multiple species of aliens. I believe that we've been visited, not just in 47, but like throughout human history. And, that again, that's another conversation to unpack, and not all of them are good. I think that there are entities that are things that we can't easily see, but can easily open us up and go and capture us and ride us and stuff. I know that sounds crazy, but I believe that because I just see that. And I'm not saying that people do not have control over their own behaviors. I'm not saying that that's entirely true. I think that people can make choices. You make choices every damn day of your life. But I do believe that there are forces that are pressing down on us right now that have taken over people, and I think they're too far gone, honestly. I don't think they're ever going to come back and go, oh yeah. I think there's a really good author that really helped me to kind of visualize this. I highly recommend it. His name is Jeff Wheeler. And he writes a series of books called the Muirwood Trilogy or the Muirwood series and the King's Fountain series. Read his books. They're really good. I like his world that he's built. They're really, really good books or good novels. I like them. And I like the way they make me feel. They really kind of give things. Now, as a disclaimer, he has a Mormon background, but he's not preachy. You know, he borrows from a lot of different philosophies like Buddhism and everything else like that. But it gives you, and it's basically about good and evil, right? I highly recommend checking out his books because because there's this entity, this goddess. I'm not saying goddesses are bad, but it's just this one god that creates whole armies of these people, and they walk among us, and there's this weird evil, and like it manifests upon somebody, and they're like trying to take over, and I'm using my words, not the way he's describing it, but kind of their souls essentially, and there's this battle. um and they're fighting against it all the time. And that's kind of how I visualize what is kind of going on, that I think that there's forces out there that are definitely that there's definitely these dark forces. Anyway, I'm going past the 30-minute mark, so I'm sure I've had a few people pop in and out. Thank you very much. I'm going to talk about this some more. I'm going to try. I keep saying I'm going to try and get on. My life is just very busy right now, but I tend to think about these kinds of ideas and invite people to have a conversation about it. If you are interested in having an intelligent discussion about these things, I welcome it. I think that we need to have more conversations. I think we need to be more open-minded about various possibilities. I think that we need to be grounded and continue to educate ourselves on how to have good discussions. As far out as some of the discussions may get, we should allow ourselves to have these discussions. We need to honestly promote more kindness and goodness and in our society through our actions, not just through our performative, you know, oh, hi, I'm a good Christian, it's like you need to get out there and do what, and be kind. Do your own personal work too, I've said this repeatedly. I'm like, do your shadow work, people. Do your shadow work. You need to understand yourself and be kind, be tolerant, be patient. Because I think that when there's pressures put on us in our environment, in our society, it allows open up people who are suffering or who have these wounds that have not been healed to allow, and I hate to say it this way, but allow this evil to infiltrate them and take over. And I know that sounds crazy, but it's a thought discussion I'm having right now. I am not dogmatic. I try and find what the hell is going on, and I think that we uncover truth when we have rational, intelligent discussions and the possibilities of things. I mean, to sit there and say definitively, oh, there's nothing out there and that we're all just going to die and turn to dust isn't helpful. I mean, I think that that's a dark thing too, But I will say for the record that I know a lot more atheists out there that are a hell of a lot kinder than any one Trump supporter that's out there right now. I mean, there's atheists who do good work. I know an atheist who is tireless in their work with animals and everything else like that. So, this notion that, oh, well, atheists are just evil people because they don't have God. I'm like, I know people who say that they do have God, and they're the most evil, vile people, as we can see right now with Trump. And all these Trump supporters, and they speak in tongues, and they do crazy stuff, and they take food out of the mouths of babies, and then they say they're pro-life. I mean, it's like, if you're not seeing that, that's just freaking crazy. I mean, so, you can call yourself whatever you want. It doesn't make you a good person. It's your actions that matter. Anyway, and I know there's a lot of trolls on here. Just on the internet, but I just welcome, I welcome people, there's a lot of ignorant people out there and they don't understand. But I'm open to like having creative, wild conversations about a lot of things, but I will only entertain people who are, um, not just being trolls, you know? It's like, trolls go away, go fuck off. Honestly. I'm like, I don't have the energy for you. Um, you know, I have these conversations in pursuit of kindness and truth and trying to find solutions. So, anyway, have a great Saturday and thanks for listening. All right, bye.